Thank you. Sorry about my lateness. Welcome everyone to another fantastic meeting of the Student Senate. Is my mic on? Can you hear me all right? Great. So as always, we will begin with prayer in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. It's Asian American and Pacific Islanders Heritage Month. And this year, we saw a startling rise in anti-Asian violence. So today, we'll pray for those lost to this violence, for their families and friends, and for an end to all violence. God of justice, in your wisdom, you create all people in your image without exception. Through your goodness, open our eyes to see the dignity, beauty, and worth of every human being. Open our minds to understand that all your children are brothers and sisters in the same human family. Open our ears to hear the cries of those wounded and killed by racist violence. Strengthen our resolve to make amends for injustice, and fill us with the courage that we might seek to heal wounds, build bridges, forgive and be forgiven, and establish peace and equality for all in our communities. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Great. Moving right along, we'll go to roll call. And our roll call question today is, what is one thing that you're looking forward to this summer? Here, and I'll be staying here for the summer, so I'm just looking forward to getting good work done on student government stuff.
Yeah. One thing I'm looking forward to this summer is good food, I guess.
Madeline Smith here. I'm just looking forward to seeing all my friends again and being back home. Daniel Skermerhorn
Here and going to the beach.
Faith Woods here and having a normal sleep schedule. Nolan Lyon,
Here and getting to see my high school friends.
Miranda Fulham,
Here, spending time with my friends and family back home.
Colin Moret,
Here and
Christian Fulham,
Here, driving.
Patrick Calvin,
Here, getting a dog like a week after I get home, so can't wait for that.
Monica Blair,
Here, at Roxy, I'm excited to go to the beach.
McLean Carroll,
Here and Marcia, this is my first one.
Maddie Means,
Here, and growing with a couple of my friends in Michigan.
Emma Epstein, living in a building that has air conditioning. Isabel Perrin, here, home cooked meals. Cooper Scholl,
Here.
Benjamin Earhart,
Present, I'll second that, sweet.
Abraham Figueroa,
Volunteering at a local homeless shelter.
Madeline Kosabuki, here and seeing my doctor again. Mary Griffin, here, excited to see my friends from home. Ellen Thomas, here, Christian Yoder, Brian Burns,
He's on. Yeah, I'm here on Zoom. Golfing.
Bianca Burnett,
Here, I'm on Zoom as well and also sleeping.
Lizzie Martin, seeing my dog. Veronica Slevin, here and going to the beach. Elizabeth Gonzalez, here, and there'll be a new baby in the family at the end of the month, so spending time with the baby.
Congratulations.
Michael Jacot, Valerie Cortez,
Here, seeing friends and family.
Will Kennedy,
Here, Noah Simons.
John Daly,
Here, just spending time with friends back home now that we're vaccinated.
Ava Downey, Mary Cabell, here and seeing friends and family. Henry Bates, Jimmy Burnett,
Here, and I'd say swimming.
Paul Soler,
Here, the only time I listen to country is when I'm at like a summer bonfire with my friends, so I'm excited for those.
Jacob Lowry,
I'm excited not to listen to country music.
Timothy Gallagher,
He's on Zoom and golfing with Brian.
Maddie Suki,
Spending time with my dogs.
Thomas Davis,
Here, being able to leave the greater Michiana region on my own volition.
Alan Jono,
Hot girl summer.
Madison Newman, here and cuddles with my dogs. Elise Madison,
Here, and I'm working with some nuns over the summer, so I'm excited about that.
Nina Selvin,
I earning income.
Kate McLaughlin,
Here by proxy, visiting friends and family.
Caroline Cameron,
Here, going to the beach.
Mabry West, David Holmes,
Here, bonfires.
Daniel Lau,
Here, isn't looking forward to Pride Month, it was canceled last year.
Karen Kennedy,
Here and not spending every weekend on campus.
Great. Moving right along, we'll go to the approval of last meeting's minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes as they've been shared to you? Going once, going twice. Sold. Hearing none, we'll move right along. Our first executive announcement will actually be a little housekeeping. Again, office hours are, for me, are 12 to noon, or noon to 2 in the student government office tomorrow. Alan Alan will not be holding office hours this week. And to congratulate very quickly some new members to the Senate, Jimmy Brunette and Thomas Davis, who are our new In addition, Senator Sparsh Modi has accepted the position of Student Union Ethics Commissioner for the Senate. So thank you so much, Sparsh. And moving right along to our first listed executive announcement, I'm going to pass it off to Karen for this one, actually. Alex, could you hand me a mic?
Yep.
Yes, Matthew humored me and put this one on, so thank you, Matthew. Today starts National Nurses Week. The link in the agenda goes to a little Google form. The university is using this opportunity to celebrate the nurses and other medical practitioners who have worked with the crew all year long, keeping you all safe and tested and all those kind of things. And so just wanted to encourage you, if you're up for it, for filling out that form with a quick thank you note, you can do it right now. They'll take those all week. And also if you want to share that with your hall, if it hasn't already gone around, it'd be great to spread the word, to share our thanks to folks who've been working really hard all year.
Great, thank you so much, Karen. And moving on to our second announcement. This is a lot of announcements. If you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me as we're sort of continuing on. But our second announcement will actually be by Alan on our past week's student and faculty voice-on.
Hey, howdy y'all. We had a successful student voice and faculty summit. Really got to really engage with faculty, different professors, department heads, deans, and a lot of students showed out to talk about how we can learn from the pandemic into the school year next year. And I think one of the biggest things is going to the summer, compiling all that information that we got from all the different majors and putting it in a digestible format, presenting it to the department heads and deans, the provost hopefully, and then present that also to y'all from the perspective of the faculty. And then from there, we can hopefully have a better semester that's more in person. And I have no idea what semester is gonna look like, but hopefully it's not necessarily what we're doing right now. So hopeful.
Before you, are there any questions from the Senate about the summit and how it went? Great, thank you so much, Alan. Our next executive announcement relates to the student advisory group on campus reopening. We had another meeting yesterday afternoon, and I'm going to split this update up into three sort of chronological periods. The end of this year, the end of the spring semester, summer, and the upcoming fall. So as it relates to the end of this year, there were exciting and hopeful turnout at the second vaccination clinic, meaning that Aaron Hoffman-Harding is very comfortable sharing that there is exceedingly low jeopardy of the second incentives not coming to fruition. So pat on the back, everyone. Very good turnout for the second vaccination. For the commencement, there was again some questions about tickets and how they would be given out. Essentially 4 tickets will be given to each graduate. Those will be assigned by graduates so that they're not associated with your guest's name, so that you can give those tickets to different guests to attend different events. In case, grandma and grandpa want to go to one event and mom and dad want to go to another. There is still no info on the commencement speaker, and Aaron Hoffman-Harding refused to speculate on whether the president had been invited. Moving on, residence hall move out. We got an email about that actually the same day during this meeting. So there are not specific time slots for your move out, so that you can move out after your exams are finished, but it's the same with move-in that you have 2 guests who must abide by the health protocols, mask, distancing, those sorts of things. Exit testing will not be required, likely, but if you need one to go home in order to be safe or for whatever reason, the university will provide you one. And that brings us into summer. Summer, from what we could tell, will be a time of experimentation and learning by the university. So the 3 main sites of experimentation will be in research labs, in residence halls, and in public buildings, that being student centers and the dining hall specifically. And these experiments will be mostly in re-densifying these spaces, making sure that we're upping capacity. And at least at the beginning of the summer, masks will always be required indoors, though Aaron Hoffman-Harding also said that by the end of the summer, they could theoretically see about relaxing those standards as well. And all of this is in an effort to prepare for the fall and what the protocols will look like in the fall. It's our understanding that there will be 10 residence halls operating over the summer, so that should give us a pretty good sample size of what the fall will look In the fall, what we've all noticed from our class registration times is that class times and classrooms seem to be back to normal. So the hope is that in the fall, barring strange variants over the summer, we will go back to normal, densified in-classroom learning. Again, masking seems to be steady throughout the fall, but the university has sort of thought about ways that could be relaxed going forward. Dining halls will be 85% re-densified, with 15% remaining, distanced with plexiglass. And that sort of setup was more for, at least Earhart and Harding communicated that it was more for student comfort and dining comfort than anything related to health protocols, required health protocols. Again, that will be piloted this summer. The fitness centers are the greatest site of uncertainty with regulations going forward due to the heavy breathing that's sort of necessary in a fitness center. And as far as the student advisory group going forward, we already have more meetings planned over the summer to continue these discussions and keep updated on our end of how these experiments are going, etc. A lot of information. Are there any questions? Thomas Davis.
Any mention of eating inside the student centers in the summer?
Great question. The experiment over the summer will be limited or some indoor dining in student centers specifically, and that will guide how the fall will look for inside the student center. Ben.
In a similar vein, did they mention anything about gathering policies changing in terms of like dorm visitation, or were they strictly talking about mask policies in public spaces?
So visitor policy, the relaxation of visitor policy is likely over the summer, especially in the public campus buildings, but they'll also be using the residence halls to explore a phased approach to greater visitation within the hall. The sense was that lounges seem to be a foregone conclusion that they will open lounges, but that individual rooms may pose greater challenges. McLean.
Were these policy questions all for the summer, or were they planning on carrying them into the fall or seeing how it goes?
So the whole point of the summer is to see which policies will be enacted in the fall. So I don't know much more besides that. Christian, do you have a question?
Yeah, was there any mention of singing indoors? I know for residents home masses. Was there any mention of maybe, because I know for that is what we South Bend, they relaxed that policy as well.
That didn't come up in our discussions, but I can bring that to Lauren Conley, or Lauren Conley.
Laura Conley.
Laura Conley. Zachary. Yes.
Over summer, are they mandating like vaccines? Like you have to be, it's like to be on campus, you have to be 100% vaccinated.
The people who will be on campus in the summer are the same who would be subject to the vaccine requirement in the fall. If that makes sense.
Because I just want to know, like, because I know, like, for fall, throughout campus, you have to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would change over time.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the requirement is in full effect over the summer, but due to the low certainty about how many vaccines we will have, that wasn't something that was brought up in the meeting specifically. David.
Just a more general question. What's the sort of guiding standards that they're going by? Is it the diocese? Is it the county? Is it CDC? Because I know some of these standards are for the community at whole, including people of all ages, as opposed to a very different college environment. So I'd be a little bit concerned if they're going with CDC or something like that.
Yeah, so right now they're taking CDC guidelines under advisement and also talking to the local county health department and trying to craft policy based on that. The specific guidelines that came up were about surveillance testing and about the CDC guideline that said that surveillance testing should continue in congregate living environments, but we don't know if that will change by the time August will roll around. Zach?
So I know one of the stipulations for the round 2 was that they call dispelling of the weekly testing.
Yes.
So are they going to continue that in the fall, or is there a chance of other times?
It's our understanding right now that it will go away once they announce that it is passed for the second vaccine. But Aaron Hoffman also said that they might require more surveillance testing over the summer because they are looking at those densified scenarios to monitor how cases react.
Has there been any talk about how we might have been doing better? Their 7-day positive rates down to 0.1%. Is there any discussion at all?
I will say that the tone is generally overwhelmingly hopeful. Remind me, Mary Griffin, right?
You mentioned masking in the fall. Did I hear that correctly? And if so, is the rule that has already been determined? What would the parameters be around that?
It has not already been solidified that it will be the purpose of the summer. Yes, sorry.
You're okay. Have they said anything about outside visitors? I'm thinking specifically about football tailgating and football fans, or even just having parents on campus. Have they said anything about that?
Yeah, so the outside visitor that got policy that got mentioned was specifically allowing outside visitors in the library and in the student centers. There was no mention of game day specifically.
I think that's because that's for summer, and again, they're going to see how it goes for fall. But I can confirm the summer guest policy. Actually, I think it went out today in the COVID update email if you go to it, and it does permit visitors outside with no reason to be here to be on campus and to be in some handful of other buildings. So, to Matthew's point, trying to use summer as a learning and experimenting and piloting and taking outside the fall. So you can read the summer visitor policy if you want for those who will be on campus.
Thank you. Abraham.
Yes, so, hopefully this doesn't happen, but if there were to be some sort of COVID outbreak again in the fall, what would be implications for those individuals that have religious exemption from the vaccine? Because to my understanding, if you get a religious exemption, you could be, you don't allow you to attend class, and you know also maybe kicked off out of your dorm, according to the current religious exemption form, to my understanding. So, what's the implication for those individuals who could get a religious exemption from the vaccine?
I don't know, and I won't speculate. Ben?
This is a general question, just logistically for us. You said you're going to be meeting over the summer. Are you going to plan to communicate those meeting notes to all of us in some way, just so we're at least kind of aware of what you guys may be discussing, in case we may have questions about as they're experimenting and coming up with the changing policies? So I think one of the things going into this semester for sure, and last semester obviously, but definitely this semester I feel more so, was kind of this anticipation, waiting, and frustration. What is campus life actually going to be like? I remember in the winter, obviously you can't finalize policy with COVID changes, but so I'm just asking for our sake that we can maybe pass that along to friends who may have questions about as we get closer to the fall, obviously, what will follow. So long story short, my question is, will you share those notes with us?
Yeah, I think we'll be meeting once a month at the very least, but I will be sure to try to make a digest and send it out to you. My intent is not to blow up your emails over the summer, so I will keep that communication light, but yes, I see no reason not to share that with all of you. Christian.
Is there a possibility for return to service timing in ambulance?
Oh, good question. I don't know. I can ask Laura Conley. Yes.
Was there any discussion of student programming, for example, food handling or location requests?
Yeah, I would turn to Karen for that, but I don't know.
Yeah, we haven't set fall policy yet, so we're looking to honestly get through the rest of the semester juicy going on right now, and then focusing that, but also trying to use summer and what we learned this fall and take that into consideration for fall programming guidelines.
Do you have a sense of when we could hear from that? Okay, that's fine. Any other questions? Thomas?
Did you get any sense of how they're defining a student over the summer? So students who are current students who have no affiliation or non-affiliation, but people who will be residing in South Bend that want to go use the fitness center, need access to campus, but they be subject to, like, if there is summer testing, those types of requirements.
That wasn't something that came up, but again, I can pass the question along to Laura. Elizabeth.
Just a little clarification on a question that asked a little earlier. So over the summer, you said they'll have no problems allowing people in the lounges. Could you anticipate that if it were to go well over the fall, we could see ourselves in each other's rooms by the fall? Or in the summer, I mean?
Again, I cannot speculate. I don't know. Abraham.
Will we receive an extra 50 flex points in the fall as well? And we get this year?
Unsure. Unlikely and unsure. Great question, John. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll move right on to our next update. Yesterday, no, 2 days ago, I attended my first faculty senate meeting. So our two undergraduate representatives to the faculty senate are myself and Dane Sherman, director of university policy. I didn't expect us to have to debate a resolution that night. Basically the way it's set up is that there's a committee meeting and then the full senate meeting right afterwards. And in the committee meeting, while we were doing introductions, we also drafted a resolution and then presented it at the full meeting of the Senate. So a much different procedure from the way that we operate here, but good nonetheless. The resolution was one supporting the calls from both this Senate and the Campus Life Council to extend the observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Day from the half day sort of lunch break that we get to a full day of observance. That was drafted and presented in the full Senate meeting. Ultimately, it was postponed, tabled until September. But I was excited to see the amount of support that we did have. The main concerns were how would it affect the academic calendar? And the primary concern voiced by Provost Miranda was that a 3-day weekend, which this would cause because a full day observance on Monday, might lead to unwise student decision making. That's the best way I can put it. Right now I have Dana and I will be meeting with Provost Miranda in early June to discuss these changes. In addition, the original Senate author, Eliza Smith, former Senator Eliza Smith, will be meeting with Aaron Huffman-Harding very soon with a number of students, actually, including 2 of our department directors, Amaya, Director of Diversity and Inclusion, and Cassidy, Director of Student Empowerment, to further discuss this change. All the documents I got for the Faculty Senate are available to you in the agenda, links there. The only other student-specific thing in that meeting that I saw was a professor from the Department of History, I think John Deek, wanted to have some conversations about the amount of students taking overload course loads from 17 to 20 plus credits. And apparently this is something that they've been working on for a while, but which has seen very little movement. And so I will follow up with that professor on any progress he's made and any particular opportunities for collaboration between this Senate and that Senate. So any questions on Faculty Senate, anything? Ben?
Just a clarification, because I think the second thing you mentioned, I think that's something that's actually a conversation we should definitely be involved in. What exactly trying to feel out, is there an issue to be discussed? I mean, maybe I missed what you were saying.
It is in his anecdotal experience that far too many students, especially first years, take overload course credits. And he is trying to find the empirical data from either the registrar or from direct student outreach to back up that anecdotal evidence. Depending on what that evidence shows, he's looking to write a resolution or work with the office of the provost, work with the office of the registrar in some way. I'm unsure what the final goal is.
Okay. As an aside, when I was a first year, I was in fuel, Leach was one of my co-directors, and we actually talked about this issue of first years being overloaded because they don't know what they want to take, and they got to take so many just to keep ahead if they want to go one way or another. So this interests me a lot. Also, as an engineer, we take a lot of classes as well, so also interests me. This kind of this how many people would be taking so many courses.
Yeah, it's sort of,
thanks for clarifying.
yeah, it's sort of fortuitous that we're joined by the director of academic affairs. Nikki, would you like to speak?
Hi, Nikhil, for all the other men, but we've been discussing flexibility, and Abraham is actually on our little subcommittee on flexibility about how many credits students can take. One thing that we've discussed and that we've discussed with provost was a shopping period, the possibility of being able to explore different classes during the first week or two, so maybe a lot of other universities like ours have that we don't. So these are all things that we're definitely considering and working on, and you have my number, Snapchat.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So feel free to just message me.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nikhil. Faith.
Hi.
Hi.
In regards to the whole deal of Martin Luther King and getting that full day of observance, did they give any other reasons besides what might happen over a 3-day weekend, or did they just kind of leave it at that?
There was the first concern to be raised. I can go through the itemized list. The first concern was that the original Senate resolution, or student Senate resolution, mentioned racial reparations, and that passing a resolution, the faculty Senate might support racial reparations. That didn't seem to get very much traction. The second concern was how it would affect the academic calendar, and we had no answers at that point. The third concern, primary concern, was raised by a member of the theology department that our current modus operandi is actually more intentional about that time than a full day observance might be. And then the fourth concern was the 3-day weekend. Yeah, anytime. Remind me your name.
Mary.
I'm sorry?
Mary.
Mary, yes.
My question is just going back to the overload one where did you say 17 to 20 hours?
17 to 20 plus.
Okay, so I know recently, like the College of Engineering, like redesigned their like first years of studies, and I know most students in the College of Science and College of Engineering take more than 20 or more than 17 credits. So I guess I was just wondering what the reasoning behind, like in the recent reorganization of those classes, why they designed it so that most students like had a technical overload classes, if that was like a concern from the faculty.
It was not mentioned, and like I said, the professor leading this is part of the history department, so he might also not be necessarily aware of that specific change in the College of Science and Engineering. Ben.
Just my understanding, at least, is that the official, and correct me if I'm wrong on this one, the official definition of an overload is more than 19 credit hours. That's at least my understanding is if you are registering for more than 18, you have to request an overload. That, at least in the College of Engineering, well, at least that's what I've seen as. So I don't know if that's a university-wide definition. That's at least I was under the impression that that's what that was.
Yeah, whereas in the College of Arts and Letters, I think it is 17.
Oh.
They vary by college.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that could be another fruitful area of discussion.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Y'all are killing it tonight with these questions. Go once. Twice. Sold. Our next update comes from Alan about a meeting that we had with Father Jenkins and his chief of staff and Kurt last Friday.
Howdy, y'all. Howdy. So we were lucky enough to get 30 minutes with Father John Jenkins earlier last week. We went in on wanting him to build a relationship with him. I tried to get to know him a little bit better, have him know us a little bit better. But also we discussed three separate things. The first thing is we wanted to include a Department of Director of Sustainability in the ND Forum discussions coming up, which is particularly focused on care for creation. Second, we were looking for an update with the Trustee Task Force on Diversity and Inclusion, which was created or established August 2020. I wanted to know what has happened since then. On that note, we haven't gotten an update from that just yet, but we are awaiting a response. It's only been a week, so giving them a little bit of time. We succeeded in getting student representation on the ND Forum, so that's a victory for us. And then the last thing is, given Vice President of Student Affairs, Earhart Harden's announcement that she would be leaving at the end of the academic year, we also wanted to have a little bit of input on who the next person would be. And with that in mind, we were given the opportunity to write a letter and express sort of what we would be looking for in a Vice President of Student Affairs. So the first thing is that we asked to be included in the search process. However, given just how quick, well, yes, the search process, given how quick the turnaround is, we cannot be tangibly involved in the interview process. However, we got to share a little bit of our input. And so what we truly asked for was, we appreciated how Earhart and Harden always listened to, always put together committees addressing student affairs. So for example, there was the advisory committees for student climate related to LGBTQ students, race and ethnicity, and also has close participation with the Campus Life Council. So looking to find a vice president who has a desire for broad student involvement in their decision-making process. She had an intentional way of reaching out to students and making sure that that sort of spirit is kept in the next vice president. And we got a response actually yesterday. And because of the compressed timeline, we cannot be tangibly involved in the interview process. However, I'll quote Father John Jenkins, "I can assure you that whatever we do, the new vice president will be committed to seeking student input, particularly students of color and LGBT students. And beyond that, we will be kept informed on the direction they're going." So I count that as a victory also, but thank y'all so much for hearing me talk about this, and we'll keep you updated.
Are there any questions?
Are there any questions?
We derive on meeting with Father Jenkins, our letter to him. Ben?
Yeah, I guess I'll ask. What, did they give any indication of when they will announce who the new VP of Student Affairs will be? Because I imagine it sounds like they're trying to install them before the fall, and ideally as soon as possible in the summer.
Yeah, our advisor BC speculated that we'll have a name by June 1st, but we've gotten no such confirmation from the Office of the President.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Great. Thank you so much, Alan. And now I'm going to pass these last two updates off to Elise. So an update on police relations and 2 working groups.
Hey y'all, hope you're having a nice Thursday. I won't take too long. So first, police relations. This Monday, was it Monday? This got 10 plays. This Monday we had a meeting with Chief Shibata of the NDPD. So she's the chief of the Notre Dame Police Department, and we met with several of her colleagues, including captains, assistant chiefs, one of the detectives and investigators, and we were missing a couple people, but we got to meet a lot of the sort of higher ups in NDPD. We asked them a couple questions about sort of like police relationship, and basically they said that they want us to bring any concerns that we have to them, but also that we kind of have to act as people who are trying to create a very safe atmosphere on this campus and to keep them updated about things on this campus that may potentially be unsafe. We talked a little bit about sort of platform goals, but mostly we're trying to get together kind of a good working relationship with Chief Shibata in the hopes of hosting continued unity summits throughout the year. Yesterday, they had the Cops in the Common Good thing, and then they're hoping to also have more collaboration with students going forward. Most of the discussion was about kind of getting more information and transparency, NDPD to the students. There are a lot of different laws and regulations that allow for various levels of transparency. So we were talking about what can and cannot be said and what can and cannot be revealed to students. For example, the locations of certain incidents. So to say, in a residence hall, on public property, on private property, sort of like these distinctions that certain laws either allow or don't allow certain degrees of disclosure. But every October they release a report with a lot of different information about what goes on around this campus in relation to the police. So thought it was a very productive meeting, thought it was really good. And then next Thursday, so reading day, we are meeting with the, hopefully, South Bend Police Department, Mishawaka Police Department, Excise, and NDPD again, along with Aaron Hoffman-Harding and Mike Seaman. And we're hoping to have a really good, Mike Seaman is a university kind of operations and security. We're hoping to have a very productive meeting with all of them and report back about their understanding of how Notre Dame can be good, friendly, and safe neighbors to the entire community. So that's kind of how the police thing's going. Hey.
I don't know if this falls under NDPD or just general campus safety, but have they said anything about the possibility of increasing the number of those blue light emergency machines? As of right now, I think there's only like 2 or 3, and they're like way on the edge of campus. So I just kind of wondered about that.
Yeah, I'll say from a student government standpoint, that the blue light thing is kind of a perennial issue and has never really come, not a lot has ever come of those conversations. It's some kind of thing about the look and there's a lot of, it just has never really taken off as, as something that student government has tried to pursue. Any other questions? So we will keep you guys updated about the meeting next Thursday, where we get to meet. And so those are constitutionally required. We hold those 3 times in our term. So now in the fall before school starts, and then also in the spring of 2022, we will hold those 3 meetings with those police departments from the surrounding area. And then my second update is about the working group. So one, we talked last week about the Welcome Week working group. If you want to be part of that, just let me know. I'm trying to get together a meeting over this summer, but I really do want to cast this out again to senators or anyone interested to say, if you want to be part of these conversations, just come up to me and I'll add your name to the list. It's pretty informal right now, but LD and Andrew seem very willing to talk about it. I decided not to have LD at this meeting because I thought that we'd kind of gone over it and we kind of all shared our concerns with each other. So I didn't think that asking her the same questions would be as productive. I didn't think that it would be a good use of this body's time. So I decided that we would instead, if you guys have any concerns, either send them to me or join the work group, basically. But we're having our sort of student life department work on that pretty effectively. And then next we have the sexual health work group, which met for the first time this morning. Our health and well-being directors are kind of chairing that, but neither of them could make it. So I was in the meeting chatting with members of UHS, so the interim director, who's Cindy Schwartz, and then Melissa Lynn, who's their administrative assistant. By the way, guys, this is a fun fact for the Senate. UHS has an Instagram, and you should all follow it. I didn't know that till this morning, and I just started following them, so I think you guys should too. They're trying to get the word out about health things, and no one knows they have an Instagram, so it's tough to get the word out. But then also, we were talking with the Harper Cancer Research Center because they're trying to promote HPV vaccination, because now is kind of a critical time for college students to get the HPV vaccine if they want to prevent themselves from getting HPV in their lives. And for both men and women, it can cause cancer later in your life. So people who are cancer researchers are very interested in getting students and young people a vaccine that can prevent not only you from getting HPV, but also you from getting cancer. So if you guys are interested in that, please let me know and I'll add you to that work group because that's also very preliminary, but we're meeting twice over the summer to discuss a game plan, a timeline, and some strategy on social media outreach to promote not only the HPV vaccine, but also to promote general sexual health resources that already exist on this campus that students generally do not know about. Any questions?
So much, Elise. Any questions on those two working groups? If you'd like, you can talk to us after the meeting if you'd like to join those working groups. Okay. Don't let your eyes glaze over just yet. We're not done. On to nominations or the election of 2 senators to the Campus Light Council. I'm going to turn this over a little bit to Alan to talk about the work of the CLC and some possible meeting times next semester. And then we'll run through the process with Madison on how we'll do this election.
Howdy, y'all. So the Campus Light Council is the council that I chair, and any resolutions passed through my council or our council will be forwarded to the Vice President of Student Affairs, and they will have 7 days to issue a response and generate discussions. As a result, the CLC is a well-connected body to the administration or administrators, and we would love to have student representation. So how many senators do we get there? Do we get 2? 2 senators. I'm assuming more. Yes, for possible meeting times, we are looking at Tuesday or Thursday, 8:30 a.m. because I'm a morning person, but also looking at Tuesday, 7 p.m. And then the other time we're looking at is Thursday, 12:30 p.m. So those are some possible times. They could change, but if you have time next semester, this is for next semester, so not this year, would love to have you on. And then the second thing is, this year that we're done weekly, we will be doing them on a bi-weekly basis. So it's not every week then, just to let y'all know ahead of time. But yeah, any questions?
Alan, any questions on the general nature of Campus Life Council? Great. Moving on, I'm going to pass it to Madison to sort of outline how we're going to do this. Essentially, we need 1 representative from a men's hall and 1 from a women's hall.
Right, so because we need 1 from a women's hall and 1 from a men's hall, I have a form that'll help keep it more organized. So I'll link that once we get the candidates. But basically, we'll kind of do it like the same way that we did Committee on the Constitution. Nominate yourself, nominate someone else. Yeah.
Do we have any nominees? McLean.
I'd like to self-nominate.
Great.
What's your full name?
McLean Farrell.
Ben.
Yeah, I'll self-nominate.
Great. Elizabeth.
I'd like to self-nominate Elizabeth Gonzalez.
Faith.
Self-nominate Faith Woods.
Great. Veronica.
Is someone else getting that? Okay, so that would be Faith, then.
As well as Veronica Slip. I'll just join you here. Any other nominees? Abraham.
Also nominate.
Abraham Mack. M-A-C-L-A-N. L-A-N-E. I apologize.
And last initial?
F-A-R-R-E-L.
Abraham. Any other nominees? We have 8 grades. I'll leave it open.
And we'll give you an opportunity, like about a minute or so, to say something to, say why someone should vote for you, because it's not like ComCon, like we have 1 man, 1 woman, so kind of a little more competitive, so to speak.
Any last nominees? Wow. Like Madison said, I have all the nominees come forward. And we'll give you each about 60 to 90 seconds to tell us a little bit about yourself, why you want to be on CLC. We'll run through the representatives from women's halls first. And I see Faith, I think, is first on the floor. So, start there.
Hi, my name is Faith Woods. I'm currently a first year serving as a senator for Greenfields Hall, and I would love to be a part of Campus Life Council. I am incredibly passionate about making this campus as diverse and inclusive as humanly possible. I love Notre Dame and I love the experience that they give to us, especially within our dorms, but that experience is not equitable and accessible to everyone here on campus. So I just want to make sure that everyone is able to have the best Notre Dame experience they can.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Gonzalez. I'm the senator for Ryan Hall. This past year, I served on the freshman class council as the chair for spiritual and service. I'm really passionate about making this Notre Dame community as kind as possible. Kindness is my mantra, and I want to make sure that Notre Dame feels welcoming to the new freshman class coming in, because I know personally I felt a little bit out on the outskirts my beginning of my first half of my freshman year, and I want to make sure that no one feels that way. And yeah, I just want Notre Dame to be as a fun and loving community as possible, and I think serving on campus life would be a great opportunity to work with that.
Hi, everyone. I'm Veronica. I live in P-Dub, and I really am passionate about campus life. I just got selected to be on the St. Andre Bissett Welcome Week Committee, and I'm really passionate about making everyone feel welcome here. Notre Dame has a lot of really, really smart and dedicated and talented people, but there's so much diversity and so much more diversity that we can have if we have diversity, not only physically, but diversity of thought and making people feel welcome and loved, because we're all living in a community. And I would love to serve on this committee and just really show this expression of inclusivity and love and passion for the community that we all live in for four or 5 years.
You three can take your seats. Moving right along, I'll let McLean go first.
What's up, everybody? I'm McLean Farrell. I'm a first year. I'm the senator from Fisher Hall. So in Fisher, we have this phrase, all are welcome in this place. And so I ran for Senate on that phrase. Something I'm really passionate about, and I firmly believe, is that coming out of this pandemic, we not only have the opportunity to restore this campus to the amazing place it used to be, but we have the opportunity to transform it to make it more welcoming. That's why I've started working already on the Welcome Weekend reforms. And that's why I'm really excited to have this opportunity to get engaged around campus and to be a voice, not only for this body, but a voice for my constituents, for your constituents, for anybody who really wants to feel like they have a line to the administration. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be on this committee. Obviously, there's some great fellow candidates here, but thank you.
Hi, fellow senators. I'm the senator from Knott Hall. I would like to be on the CLC because, as previously stated, we need diversity not only from immutable characteristics such as our skin color, but we also need diversity in non-immutable characteristics such as political thought. So one of my major concerns is to have, or one of my major propositions is to have a inclusive campus when it comes to like political thought, because obviously we're very expressive, we're in college, and that's completely fine, but we also have to create an environment and where not only are we politically divisive, but we need to be tolerant of one another and create a bridge and actually reach to the other side of the aisle. And being on this position would actually give me the opportunity to work alongside Alan and other fellow talented members of the Notre Dame community to form a truly inclusive campus. Thank you.
Ben.
Hi guys, Ben Earhart, I'm representing Keele Hall. I'm a current sophomore. And with all due respect to the other candidates, I think the one thing that makes me stand out when considering who to select to represent a men's hall and CLC is experience. I currently sit on the CLC. I was on Campus Life Council for this past year. And I'm proud to say that I was one of the spearheading forces behind our own internal review and our internal reform. I brought a resolution forward to Student Senate in the last term saying, hey, CLC, we need to really be doing something. throughout this year. Throughout the year, it seemed to me that the ideal body on this campus to address student life concerns that includes conversations with administrators, not us talking up to administrators, but us all being on the same level of ground, talking about these issues transparently, is CLC. I felt like that body was underused. So I believe my experience on this body will allow me to transition smoothly into this next year, because that is another issue that I found, is that with such high turnover from student leaders, it's very hard to get the CLC up and running very effectively. So I do think that I bring that advantage to the table. Again, I really just want to keep utilizing this body constructively in a way that we can develop personal relationships with university leadership in order to make decisions that benefit everybody. Of course, all these other candidates that have been up here are excellent selections, and as another added note of wisdom, the meetings are open to the public. So of course, if any of us who wanted to run are not selected, we're always welcome to attend those meetings and still be involved in those discussions, as are any of you or your constituents. So thank you.
Thank you to all the nominations. Madison, I'd like to explain. Great. So Madison is going to link into the agenda a voting form for the nominee. This form has all of the names. Please only select one. And we'll vote for Matt's next 2 minutes. So, with 34 votes in, it seems that Ben Earhart has 3-1 his seat on the CLC. So congratulations, Ben. And as far as the representative from the Women's Hall, we will have a runoff between Faith Woods and Elizabeth Gonzalez. So Madison will be busy making a new form, and we'll link that in our agenda as well. It is currently being linked. There. Okay, it should be linked in there now. Please take another 2 minutes or so to vote.
The song's a minute long, so if it's Don't do this to me.
Otherwise, she would have totally won.
Again, make sure you're voting.
You what?
Yeah, there's like a group of 4 or 5.
Okay, last call for vote.
Yeah.
Thank you. Please.
No.
Nikhil.
Nikhil.
Last call for votes. If anyone is having trouble voting, let us know. If not, with 32 votes now in total, Faith Woods will be our women's representative on CLC. Great. Thank you, everyone, for voting. Moving on to general orders. We have one order tonight referred back to the Senate from so seeing as I'm the author of this one, I'll send it to you all. In order to amend the constitution of the undergraduate student body to lengthen the procedural requirements for petitions to be considered in the Senate. Whereas the previous student Senate received 3 petitions arising from the undergraduate student body, in which met the 200 ballot signature requirement to be heard in the student Senate. And whereas these petitions have the potential to upset established agendas to the Senate due to the constitutionally mandated period of time between their verification and presentation to the student Senate, set within 1 academic week. Therefore, be it ordered by the student Senate of the University of Notre that Article 14, Section 1A of the Constitution of the undergraduate student body be amended in accordance to Article 1, Section 4 of the same to read as follows. A petition bearing the ballot signatures of 200 members of the undergraduate student body shall cause the Senate to consider a specific resolution within 2 academic weeks of the presentation of this petition to the Senate. This is essentially protecting us in the event that a petition is submitted and verified Tuesday night, because as it reads, we would have to then consider it the next night, or I guess this semester. If it was submitted last night, we would have to consider it tonight, which can be upsetting to the established flow of the meeting, seeing as the agenda had gone out on Tuesday. And so this is just giving us a little extra time if we need it, but we can certainly bring it within the same week if we have to, or if we can. Any questions on this one? Hearing no questions, is there a motion?
I asked for this with some.
Are there any objections? You can object.
Oh, no, I thought we were doing both.
Oh, no. Hearing no objections, we so move the debate. Are there any points of debate on the resolution or order? Hearing none, do I hear a motion? Are there any objections? Hearing none, we so move. We are now in voting procedure on the order before us. All those in favor of passing the amendment? All opposed? All abstaining? Thank you. Thank you very much. So that will be amended into the Constitution pending Karen's approval. And Alan's signature. Great. So that's done. New business. We don't have any. I haven't gotten any new resolutions. No new orders have been written since our last meeting. So, new businesses have fun this summer. And do well in finals. Do your best. That's what you can ask for yourself. Any announcements before we go? Yes.
So I said a couple weeks ago that we were gonna have Lakeside. I lied. It got moved. It's now tomorrow, 4 to 8 on South Park.
Love that. McLean.
The Fish Regatta is on Saturday. There will be no spectators, and apparently a lot of NDP will be down there to make sure that nothing happens. So everyone in your dorm is still trying to go. Like, we got it made very clear to us, so I'm not gonna be okay. But the boats will be in the water, will be competing, and there should be a captain. It's actually tonight, so.
Great. You got a regatta safely. Remind me your name. Isabel.
If you are interested in watching boats race this Saturday, women's rowing will be allowing spectators in practice. It's like 10:15 a.m. I believe. If you're interested in that, I can send you more information.
Great. Jake.
The Keenan review happened last weekend and it was a smashing success.
Congratulations. Any other announcements? Anything from sub? No? Great.
Oh, I'll advertise for all my class of 22 folks. Junior class council is hosting a food truck party on Fieldhouse Mall tomorrow. First 85 people to show up will get a free white hoodie.
Great. Are there any other announcements? Okay, don't get too excited. I need to explain this recess procedure to you. Because we're reaching the end of a academic term, we enter into recess because, one, we're not constitutionally obligated, but also it's incredibly hard to meet over the summer and over break. And it's actually outside of our scope of power because we can't have meetings outside of a student activity time. So we enter recess, and so I'm going to ask for a motion to enter recess until the beginning of the fall semester, or unless both the chairperson and the advisor call a meeting. Is there such a motion? Great. Is there a second? Okay. All those in favor of entering recess for the summer? All opposed?